They stole his first term as president. These absolute liars who run around trying to act like they're the protectors of democracy completely ruined it, tried to undermine it at every turn and at the highest levels with lies, with out and out lies that were really serious, and changed foreign policy and changed the course of history in this country in Trump's presidency. And there must be accountability. There has to be actual criminal accountability for those who lied. And I can't wait to see this administration do it.
And that was the same attitude that Obama had towards Biden. Obama thought that Biden would eventually everything. And that's eventually actually what happened. So also, he didn't have much faith in Kamala Harris. Before she ascended to the top role, he was vetting people like Megyn Kelly.
What happens when a former Fox News heavyweight and Twitter's queen of snark team up to drag Barack Obama through the dirt? You get a verbal smackdown so savage it makes a bulldozer seem gentle. Megyn Kelly and Lindi Li didn't just toss barbs. They unleashed a total blackout on the guy once treated like political nobility. Forget civilized debates. This is pure, unbridled mayhem. Obama might wish he'd stayed on permanent vacation.
That intelligence community assessment of January 17 was set to downplay Russian interference in the 2016 election. And then, after a meeting with Obama and the top intelligence community officials, or at Obama's direction at least, the intelligence community did a complete 180 and played up Russian interference instead of playing it.
The myth of Barack Obama was marketed like the world's priciest scent: sleek bottle, flashy ads, an enigmatic label, and a cost that leaves you questioning if you've bought branded air. For years, folks queued up to soak in the aroma of hope and change, convinced they'd snagged a rare, upscale political elixir.
They were hoping for.
I don't know if Pelosi was hoping for anyone in particular, or not that I know of. I do know that Obama was carefully vetting Megyn Kelly, the senator from Arizona. I know there were other names on his list. I'm not saying that Kamala Harris was necessarily at the top of the list, but he was definitely considering other candidates. I don't think she was ruled out. I just think that everyone is, a lot of people, the chieftains of the party, were hoping for a lightning round, a lightning primary. And President Biden essentially preempted that by issuing his endorsement 30 minutes after he dropped.
But here's the catch with perfume. The fragrance fades, and the leftovers don't always match the buzz. Now the pitch is crumbling, thanks to an unexpected wrecking crew. On one side, Megyn Kelly, the razor-tongued analyst who carves through political spin like a master chef with a fresh blade.
More fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X, but he was just seen at an LA, whatever that is, the other basketball team. What's it called? I can't remember the name. The Clippers, thank you. Game without her. And the LA Clippers.
On the other, Lindi Li, the Twitter blaze starter who doesn't just roast. She torches reputations with memes and wit that spread faster than a tabloid scandal. Two distinct voices, same target, Barack Obama. Kelly kicks off with her signature precision. She doesn't shout or rant, just lays out the evidence like she's auditing your finances.
Out of bounds. How soon was it after the election? Like
a week or two. When it wasn't at that point. I was just asking questions. Like it wasn't even. I was like, what happened to the $2.5 billion we raised? Why did we spend it on Beyonce? Why did we spend 2.5? Why did we spend millions of dollars on Oprah? Like legitimate questions that needed to be answered. But the amount of hate I got for that was just overwhelming. And the final straw, the moment that I knew that I needed to leave, was actually around Christmas Eve, when the chair of the party, he's the biggest clown that the Democratic Party has ever, like honestly, in recent history.
Her dissection of Obama's image is almost clinical. Remember that shiny wrapper of unity and hope? She smirks at it and reveals the contents. Years of policies leaving the middle class buried in debt, foreign policy moves that soured fast, and a cultural rift that widened despite his bridge-building vows. To her, Obama's the guy who sold a dream getaway, but skipped mentioning the roach-infested hotel with no signal. And she's spot on. Take his foreign policy. Hailed as the golden statesman, yet his track record is littered with drone strikes and half-baked wars he swore to finish but didn't. Instead of no drama Obama, Kelly paints him as no accountability Obama. Great for a pickup game, but post office? Straight to billionaire luxury laps.
The elevation of Barack Obama was important to the left in this country. It was important to them. It was, you've made this point too, they were working something out of their own, about their own history, their own feelings, race, and so on. And factoring in, yes, point taken that Sheila is half Japanese too, but also half Dutch. So she looks white. So a white-ish ex-girlfriend fantasizing about having gay sex, that was not part of the program. That no one would have any interest in that. They only wanted to elevate the 2004 Democratic National Convention speaker. There is no black, red America. There is no blue America. There is only the red, white, whatever.
Kelly highlights the irony. The same guy who claimed to champion everyday Americans now rakes in Netflix checks rivaling some nations' budgets. It's almost laughable watching the Hope and Change poster boy lounge on private yachts while college grads sink in student loans. Like discovering your gym guru secretly runs a donut shop. And the media? Kelly doesn't spare them, skewering their relentless shield around Obama. Every blunder glossed over. Every tough call spun as misunderstood brilliance. She argues they propped him up as untouchable, so much so that even with the house ablaze, her point stands. If his tenure was a golden age, why are Americans still scavenging for change in their cushions?
You pretend to hate Trump, but it's just a gag. It's a show. It's a charade. You saw Obama yucking it up with him at someone's funeral, at Jimmy Carter's funeral. Democrats pretend to hate Trump. At the end of the day, they crave him. They're obsessed with him. They need him for their fundraising machine. They need him for their raison d'etre. Without Trump, they would have no rudder. They would be even worse off than they are. Trump is their lodestar. It's their reason for existence. They're obsessed with the man.
So they're not trying to protect themselves.
They have no other reason to exist at this point because their party is just their party basically, it's in shambles.
Enter Lindi Li, a total vibe shift. Where Kelly wields a scalpel, Lindi storms in with a flamethrower. While Kelly's critiques feel like a seasoned analyst playbook, Lindi's style is your blunt friend live tweeting your ex's cringeworthy dating profile. She doesn't just dissect Obama's legacy, she mocks it. She ridicules the over-the-top branding, the endless speeches, the celeb vibe turning politics into a streaming saga. To her, Obama wasn't a president so much as a lifestyle brand. Tailored suits, perfect grin, Spotify playlists, all curated like he was vying for coolest guy alive, not leader of the free world. She zeroes in on the progressive letdown. Young idealists and activists who idolized him as a political savior got half-baked fixes and shattered promises. He nabbed the cheers and fan base, but when it came to real change, it was more coping than hope.
I know, because when we aren't, folks think we're divorced.
Look, these are the kinds of things
Yeah.
that I just miss.
Mhm.
Right? So I don't even know this stuff's going on.
Right.
And then somebody will mention it to me, and I'm all like, what are you talking about?
People think that they're on the outs because they're not always in the same room together, Maureen. That's what she would like people to believe. Like she had one or two public appearances without him, and that's what led to the divorce speculation. That's not quite it, my dear. It's what are the things? Oh, your words. It's your words that led us to believe you can't stand him.
And her online arsenal? Lindi rules social media, so her jabs come with meme-grade firepower. She twists Obama's slogans into zingers, his pledges into laughable jabs. That yes we can energy flips to well we tried. She reminds us that beneath the polish, his record looks like a PowerPoint with too many blank slides. Where Kelly dissects, Lindi obliterates. Yet their styles merge into one story. Obama wasn't the flawless icon still worshipped. He was a meticulously wrapped product. Kelly brings the intellectual teardown. Check the facts, numbers, gaps. Li delivers the cultural roast. Feel the vibe, the betrayal, the emperor's nudity. Together, their forces converge, turning Obama's image from a monument to a sagging balloon at an abandoned party. The twist? They're not politically aligned. Kelly leans right, Li left, usually foes. But here they unite like a cat and dog raiding a butcher shop. Different tactics, same wreckage.
And then it was Obama. He was elected when I was 17 years old, so I was fully indoctrinated. I went to Princeton. It's like a very, very liberal bastion. Being a conservative there was a blemish. You just couldn't. I can think of like 2 conservatives, 2 Republicans. It was just not a thing you could do. It was the age of Obama. People were enthralled by him. So it wasn't an option to be a Democrat. I actually didn't realize until recently that I could be a Republican. And let me remind you, I live in Philadelphia, where there's this 8-to-1 voter registration difference. It's not okay to be a Republican. You're ostracized.
That's why this dual attack hits so hard. Obama's not just slammed from the right, where you'd expect it. He's shredded from the left, his supposed stronghold. When both ends of the spectrum dismantle your name, you're no longer a unifier. You're the piñata at a rough bash. When critics from opposite worlds clash, you anticipate disorder, not a twisted harmony. That's the hook of this tag team roast. It's not just analyst versus meme queen. It's a rare overlap like an eclipse. Suddenly, the once untouchable Obama looks like he's auditioning for a roast he never joined. Kelly sets the base. Her case is rock solid, courtroom ready. She doesn't yell about scandals. She governs like a CEO. Her logic cuts deep. How do you face struggling families, then exit to Netflix riches outpacing a Marvel flick?
Michelle's at this end of the table. Obama's all the way yay over here at this end. And brother Craig is between them like a mediator, like a marriage counselor.
So
They're
true.
really still in love and together and not getting a divorce. Why aren't they seated next to each other?
It's true. And like, why the instant affectation? You know, like, oh, my man. And like, she doubles down in the following clip. It's just over the top. And
The contradiction screams, and Kelly doesn't need to raise her voice to prove it. Then Lindi Li barges in, dousing the fire with fuel. Where Kelly cites corporate coziness, Lindi calls it what Twitter's thinking. Obama cashed out quicker than a lottery winner dodging relatives. She jabs at the endless book deals, sprawling estates, luxury getaways, while young Americans scrape for rent and groceries. For Lindi, it's not clinical hypocrisy. It's so blatant you could slap it on a tee and hawk it at a Bernie rally. That's the rhythm. Kelly builds the argument. Lindi mocks it to dust. Kelly lays logic. Li arms the laughs. Li dubs it national fangirling, picturing reporters as starry-eyed fans, nodding through speeches like front-row concert-goers. Imagine the press pit as glow-stick-waving teens during foreign policy briefings. Absurd, and Lindi thrives on it.
A lot of people say it was Obama's 3rd term. There's rumors, these are friends of mine that are moderate Democrats say that they thought it was Elizabeth Warren running it. They thought it was Bernie Sanders running it. But I think the general consensus, I think if you asked, the majority of the population, I think it was Obama's.
It was for sure Obama's 3rd term. I don't think that's even a question. I don't think it definitely was. And that's why you saw Obama fighting for his dear life.
Kelly, of course, brings evidence. She outlines the double standard. Other presidents get roasted, dissected, dragged for every error. But Obama glides through controversies like he's Teflon-coated. Drone strikes downplayed, economic stumbles excused, cultural splits reframed as complex. Kelly doesn't need to shout. She shows the imbalance and lets it bite. Lindi amplifies, turning that disparity into humor. She sketches Obama strolling into a presser in Crocs and a Snuggie, with reporters hailing it as a bold fashion move in presidential swagger. It's over the top, but it hammers her point. The media refuse to shatter the illusion. And here's the knockout. Their critiques don't clash. They boost each other. Kelly hits from the right, Li from the left, meeting in the middle to unveil something bigger. Obama's image isn't falling to partisan spin.
Speaking of Barack Obama, he decided to drop a post on X today, and I thought, okay, maybe in the wake of the Pete Hegseth presser, he's going to say something like, no matter how you feel about the Iranian strike, hats off to our, boys in blue, our guys in the bombers. he went a different way. This is what it was.
Curious how you're thinking about this eulogy specifically in the moment and all the things that you just brought out.
I didn't even want to talk. I was so mad. Part of the reason I think
It's crumbling because the myth never synced with reality. When opposites harmonize, you know the narrative's off, like a magician exposed after years of tricks. Fans clapped at the sleight of hand, mesmerized. But now Kelly points out the trapdoors, and Lindi yells from the back, "The rabbit's fake too." The spell's broken, and the crowd realizes they overpaid for seats. It's not just history, it's current. Obama's out of office, but his sway lingers, the silent force behind Democratic curtains, mentoring the next wave. But if Kelly and Li puncture his credibility, what's that say for the future? Kelly sees it as a betrayal of trust. Li calls it the ultimate con. Together, they suggest America bought ads, not change. That's the bipartisan sting's peak. Usually, the right's attacks rally the left, and the left's jabs get dismissed as infighting.
Fighting for his fourth term. He's fighting for his own legacy. The relationship between Obama and Biden is most reminiscent of that between LBJ and JFK. JFK had little respect for Lyndon B. Johnson, but he picked him anyway because he wanted to win the South. He wanted to win Texas. But he had very little respect for LBJ's intellect. JFK was surrounded by his Harvard brain trust, and he had immense disdain for LBJ's Texas Hill Country vibe. And that was...
But when both sides align with overlapping jabs, the wagons can't circle. It's truth versus fantasy. The irony? Obama's not even there, likely surfing in Hawaii or curating another Spotify list, while his pristine image gets roasted like a holiday bird. If he tuned in, he'd catch the twist. The unifier of hope and change now unites critics with letdown and sarcasm. That's the real punch of this Kelly-Li clash. It doesn't just dismantle his image, it redefines him. No longer the cool, untouchable president above politics. He's a deflated hype job. The audience, once hooked on hope's perfume, now sniffs stale cologne on a clearance rack.